think we should get started. Hello everyone. Thank you all so much for coming today. Um, so I'll just start off by sharing the presentation. So can you all see my screen? All right, sounds good. Okay, so welcome to the AP courses and exams presentation by Dream Big. We'll start by today's agenda, which is we're going to start off with the first slide. What are AP exams? Followed by the scoring for the AP exam and the impact AP exams have on your college application, followed by a few examples of AP exams in high schools. Then we'll talk about why we should take the AP exam. And following that, we'll talk about tips to prepare and exam deadlines. So starting off, uh, this is a quote from College Board. AP exams are standardized exams designed to measure how well you have mastered the content and skills of a specific AP course. Most AP courses have an end of year paper and pencil exam, but a few courses have different ways to assess what you have learned. For example, AP Art and AP Design students submit portfolio work for scoring. So, AP exams are exams given by College Board for the student to assesses the student's mastery in a particular college class. So, after scoring a 3 or above in the exam, the student may receive college credits for that class, which we'll talk more about a little bit later. And please note that this exam is optional. Even if you're enrolled in that class, you're not required to take the exam. Uh, Most cases, the exam is a paper and pencil exam taken during the end of the school year and was online the past 2 years due to COVID. But this exam is generally online, paper and pencil. And yeah, following that, Karthik will talk more about the scoring for the AP exams.
So every single AP exam is scored on a 1 through 5 point scale. Although 5 is the maximum score you can get, it does not necessarily mean you have gotten every single question right. It just means you have displayed the highest level of understanding for that course. This overall score is calculated by comparing the scores of each section on the test. Since AP tests have many different formats on how the sections are, the method of scoring is not always the same between different tests. This score not only gauges your understanding of the course content, but is used by colleges to determine whether or not you can receive credit for the AP course. Most universities require you to get a score of a 3 or above. However, more prestigious and competitive schools may require a 4 or 5, or in some cases, like Harvard, only 5s to receive credit. Next slide. Please, next slide. Thank you. So for AP tests with multiple choice questions, students will bubble in their answers onto a Scantron, which will be later scored by computer. Like any other multiple choice test, your score for this section is based on how many questions you get right. For FRQ sections, an AP teacher will be the grader. These teachers are grading tests for the classes they teach. So for example, for an AP Chem test, only AP Chem teachers will be grading your FRQ. So that means they know the course content well. These teachers will also have rubrics which will tell them what the students need to write to receive full credit, and if the answer is incomplete, how to take away points. You can find rubrics for past tests by searching them up online. After all the sections have been graded, your sectional scores will be compared to each other and an overall 1 through 5 point score will be given. In some cases, some sections in certain tests will carry more weightage in the overall score than other sections. Oh yeah, so also I was not very clear on College Board, but I also saw that 75% on an AP exam means 5. So by studying a lot, you will be able to get that mastery level of 5.
Yeah, I'll add on to that real quick. So, there's sometimes this misconception that. Sorry, let me turn on my video. There is sometimes this sorry, my lighting's horrible, but there's this misconception sometimes that you need to do really well on an AP exam to get a 4 or a 5 or even pass on the exam. And some people think, oh, you need to get 90% of the multiple choice questions correct to get a 5 on the exam, or a lot of the questions correct to get a 5. However, the the grading scale is fairly lenient, and it is feasible. It is really feasible to get a 5, and it's getting only 75% of the questions on the multiple choice and free response section can get you a 5. And Preet, can you stop screen sharing real quick? I'll screen share a website that may boost morale. All right. Can you all see the score calculator that I'm on? Yes, no?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, cool. So here is for AP US history, here's a score calculator. And as you can see here, there's two sections, section 1 and section 2. Section 1 is multiple choice, and section 1 is multiple choice and short answer questions, and section 2 is 2 essays, the document-based question and the long essay question. So let's take a look at the multiple choice, and there are 55 multiple choice questions on the APUSH exam. And let's say I only get 30, let's say I only get 40 of the 55 correct, so I get 15 multiple choice wrong. And then let's say there are 3 short answer questions, and these are kind of like just 1 paragraph responses. And let's say I do really well on one, I do okay on the second one, and I do kind of not so good on the third one. So 3 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and 1 out of 3. And then there's 2 essays, long essays I have to write. One's a document-based question based on 7 documents, and one's a long essay question. So let's say on the document-based question, I do, you do decently well, and let's say generally people find the document-based question easier. So let's say you get a 5 out of 7 there, and let's say you get a 3 or 4, let's say 3 out of 6 on the long essay question. So this is a okay score, right? 15 multiple choice wrong. You know, your short answer questions are all over the place, scores, and you haven't done the best on your essays, but you did okay. And that's still a 4, which is which is a great score nonetheless. Now, let's say you do a bit better on the essays. Let's say you get a 4 out of 6 on the long essay question. You get 1 more point on the document-based question, and you get a full score on another short answer question. So we'll make this a 3 and this a 2. And now that gets you to a 5, right? So 15 multiple choice wrong, 2 perfect SAQs, 1 okay SAQ, and then in the document-based question, in the long essay question, you have some room for error where you get a 6 out of 7 and a 4 out of 6. That still gets you to a 5, and your total composite score is 102 over 130. If I do the math on that, that's only a 78%, and that's still a 5. And I think some people think getting a 5 is really out of reach, but this is just to show it's not. And then I'll give you one more quick example for AP Calculus BC. Every AP exam is curved, and every AP exam is curved differently. Some AP exams, it's harder to get a 5 than others. AP Calculus BC is an example of a class that it's easier to get a 5. While the questions can be harder, the curve is a lot better, and I'll show you how. I'm just going to make a random score here. So I'll keep decreasing this, and the threshold to get a 5. So when my composite score is a 59 divided by 108, my predicted AP score is a 4. But if I get 2 more multiple choice questions right, so 62 out of 108, my predicted AP score becomes a 5. If I do the math on that, 62 divided by 108 is a 57%. So on the AP Calculus BC exam, a 57% is enough to get a 5. And so hopefully that does boost some of your morals if you study well enough, and you're able to get, sometimes for AP Calculus B 57% or for APUSH 78% of the questions correct, you'll be just fine. And these score calculators are really available online. If you just search up for whatever exam you're looking for, maybe AP Computer Science Principles score calculator, you'll be able to find it. Just go ahead, search it up, enter your scores, and it's all projected though. The curve does change a bit, but these are generally pretty accurate. And then I think that with that we can continue on with the slides that we have prepared.
Yeah, thanks, Rahul. So how much impact do AP exams have on your college application? Well, taking AP exams is important to demonstrate your academic rigor. Now, taking the course alone is also sufficient to do that, but taking AP exam scores demonstrates that you have mastered the content. But AP exam scores are less important than AP core tests, SAT scores, and GPA, and all those other more important factors. AP exam scores aren't going to be a major make or break factor, which will decide whether you get into a college or not. So high AP scores will definitely work in your favor, but they're not the most important factor, as I mentioned before. If you're applying to a very selective school where you want every single edge possible over the other applicants, so then having high AP scores helps. The low AP scores don't help. You might want to consider not reporting these low AP scores because colleges ask you to self-report them on their applications. So as I mentioned before, you can self-report high AP scores and not self-report a few low AP scores if you're not satisfied with them. But if you took a lot of AP courses and only reported like 1 or 2 high scores, then the colleges might assume that the rest of your scores are bad and you chose not to report them. So that may reflect negatively on you. So you should carefully consider which AP exam scores you're going to report and which ones you're going to not report. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so here are some examples of AP exams. I'm going to talk about the math and CS ones. So the first one is AP Calculus AB. It's a college level calculus class. Of course, the next one is AP Calculus BC. That's also a college level calculus course. However, AP Calculus BC covers a bit more content than AP Calculus AB. AP Calculus AB is more, I guess, theoretical, and AP Calculus BC is more experimental, application based. Then you have your AP Statistics, which is a college level statistics course. Then you have AP Computer Science A, which is basically computer science and taught in Java. So the exams above have 2 sections. The first one is the multiple choice section, and the second one is the free response section. Both sections are worth 50% of the total grade. You'll see this format of testing in a lot of the AP tests. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is AP Computer Science Principles. This exam format is a bit different. It has an end of course multiple choice exam section, which is 70% of your score, and a create performance task section, which is 30% of your score. If you want more information on the courses and their exams, you can click on the link that I've linked to the slideshow. Okay, that's it for me, and I'm going to hand it off to Karthik to talk about some examples of medicine and business AP exams.
Could we go to the previous slide really quickly? I just wanted to add one thing. So I think there's a lot of confusion sometimes about AP Calculus AB versus AP Calculus BC. And then when you get to junior year or junior senior year, when you're taking that course, a lot of people are confused on whether to take AB or BC. So like Aryan mentioned, BC is more advanced. It does cover more content. So based on the College Board curriculum, I believe AB, there's 7 units of content to cover. And then for BC, there's an additional 3 units. And so basically, if you're looking at it, in the first 7 units, BC goes a bit more, there's some more additional concepts in BC, and then there's a whole new additional 3 units. So BC will basically needs to cover more content. So the course will go to faster pace than AB, and that's the primary difference. So if you think you'll be able to handle the faster pace, I definitely suggest you taking AP Calculus BC. And some students don't have the opportunity to take BC and they're forced to take AP Calculus AB. This year at American High School, what happened is a lot of students were not given the opportunity to take AP Calculus BC and had to take AP Calculus AB. And although those students are taking AP Calculus AB, what they'll be doing is they're going to take the AP Calculus BC exam. So they're taking the AP Calculus AB course, but they're taking the BC exam. And the reason they're doing that is because when you take the BC exam, you get a score for BC, and you also get an AB subscore. So the score tells you how well you did on the AB section of the exam and the BC section of the exam. And so students just self-study those extra 3 units, which hopefully should not be too difficult considering the resources that are available online. And so whether you take the AB course or the BC course, definitely suggest taking the BC exam. But yeah, that's what I had to say primarily about. Oh, one more thing about the CSP, Computer Science Principles exam, is that there was this thing about the create performance task. And the cool thing about that is I took that last year, and you can actually work on a partner. The create performance task is a project, and you can work on that project with a partner, and it's a pretty fun thing. If possible, I'll actually I think screen share my project from last year if I can find it. Actually, let's move on for now. Actually, one second. I think I found it. Give me just one moment. And I hopefully, for those of you taking CSP this year, it'll give you a better idea. So I'll share my screen for you. That's okay. Okay. And if you're taking CSP in the future or now, hopefully this will help. So to create performance task, you basically have to use code and fulfill a certain number of requirements. And so here's a game that my friend and I made. So basically, it's a memory game, card memory game. I'm sure a lot of you guys have played memory game in the past. And there are 3 levels, easy, medium, or hard. And based on that, the time changes. Let's just say medium. And that puts 60 seconds on the clock. So then I can flip 2 cards randomly. And then you kind of have to remember where it is, right? So I think that was there. And then these stay up. And then I think that was there. Yeah. So then you keep playing this memory game. And I don't know how successful I'll be at it, but I'm not going to play the entire game because that's not to our purpose. But here's the code that we made and we submitted. You kind of have to submit a screen recording of how your code works, etc. So so this is hopefully gets, for those of you taking CSP this year or will be taking in the future, 30% of the exam score comes from this, and the other 70% comes from a whole lot of multiple choice questions. So if you do really well on the project and you really do well on the project, because if you do well on the really well on the project, you'll leave yourself for. Sorry, what? So if you do really well on the project, you'll have room for error on the multiple choice. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Just maybe give some inspiration for your create task. But yeah, we can move on with the slideshow.
So I'll be first covering the AP exam for science. So these are the AP classes for science: AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP Environmental Science, AP Physics 1 and AP Physics 2, and AP Physics C Mechanics, and AP Physics C Electricity and Magnetism, 2 separate courses, and AP Psychology. For AP Sciences, it's mostly every single test has the same structure: a multiple choice and a free response section. Free response section is made up of a certain amount of long free response questions and short free response questions. The short ones there are more short ones than long ones, and each one are where each section is worth 50% of the grade. So they both have equal weightage in that 1 through 5 score. And then for business exams, so for business, College Board offers AP Macroeconomics and AP Microeconomics. Like the science sections, they both have multiple choice and free response sections with, again, long and short free response questions. However, the multiple choice sections for both courses are worth 66% of the score, while free response is only worth 33% of the score. So your composite score for multiple choice will have a greater effect on whether or not you get the 1 through 5 overall score. Now I'll be off to Preet.
Aryan takes the slide. Aryan, would you like to?
Oh yeah. So I'll be talking about why you should take an AP exam. So one of the main reasons to take an AP exam is to demonstrate mastery of college level material, as I mentioned before. So as discussed above, a strong AP exam score may help with your admission prospects. So yeah, if you get like a strong AP score, like a 5, then that will help. If you get a bad AP score, like a 2 or a 3, I mean, I won't say a 3 is bad, maybe like a 1 or a 2, then that won't help. You might want to consider not reporting those. So you also may skip an introductory level course on a subject at college if you earn a passing score, which is a 3 or above, on its AP exam. Some selective colleges, however, require you to get a 4 or above to skip introductory level college classes. So skipping these classes can save your time and your money. Skipping these introductory level classes may also help you graduate sooner since you have to spend less time in them.
All right. I'll be going over. I'll be going over this slide. So tips. So tips to prepare for the exam, and so far I've taken 9 AP exams, and I've done fairly well in all of them. So hopefully the tips that I'm able to give all of you will be valuable, and you'll be able to apply them in the future. And I see a lot of questions coming in the chat. Feel free to keep them. Feel free to continue putting questions in the chat, and we'll definitely get to them at the end of our presentation. So how I've prepared for AP exams is through a couple of ways. One is prep books. Prep books are definitely useful, and I think the prep book that I find useful most often is the Barron's book. So Preet, can I overshare you really quickly? So I'll say CSA, for example, so Computer Science A, Barron's book, AP CSA. And AP Computer Science A was the first AP exam that I took. I took that in freshman year, and this Barron's book helped me insanely. I can't stress how much it helped me, because when I was taking practice exam, the Barron's book had like 3 to 6 practice exams and a diagnostic test too. So when I took all those exams, my goal was a 5. I think that most often everyone's goal will be a 5, but I was getting 4s consistently, and I rarely got a 5. I was struggling to crack that barrier. And then when I went to actually sit for the exam, I was initially thinking of canceling my exam, because I'm like, I'm not able to get a 5. I want to get a 5, but on my practice exams, I'm not able to get a 5. So I was initially thinking of canceling my CSA exam, because I wouldn't be that satisfied with the 4. So then, but when I ended up sitting for the exam, and when I had the question paper, it was much easier than the Barron's exam, Barron's book that I used. And I was really surprised when I was taking the exam. And what I realized after the exam, and I talked to my brother about this too, is that the Barron's book prepares you really well for the exam, because the questions, multiple choice and free response that they give you, are harder than what you'll see in the exam by what College Board gives you. And that's how they prepare you well, by giving you harder questions, so that when you sit for the exam, it is easier. So Barron's book is definitely useful. A lot of my friends have also used Princeton. So those are generally 2 of the most popular resources for studying for AP exams, Barron's and Princeton prep books. And I would definitely suggest taking a whole lot of practice tests. A lot of practice tests are available online. For example, if I search up EPCSA practice test, and even College Board releases past exam questions. So the free response is actually released every year. So even some of the most recent ones are released. Oh, let that reload. Even some of the most recent ones are released. So 2019, you can the free response gets released every year. The MCQ they release every couple of years, but free response questions they make sure to release it every year. And so for AP Computer Science A, right here I have the questions that students took in 2019, and you can practice with them. And this is another great way to study, because these are questions designed by College Board, and so you're really bound to see similar questions when you sit for the exam. And I'm just using Computer Science A as an example. This is the same case for anything like AP, US, APUSH, past exams or practice exams. Let's see. Yeah, another more provided by College Board itself. And of course, for APUSH, it's more like essay short answer questions, like here, yeah. So now that's one thing, prep books and past AP exam questions. But another integral part of studying for AP exams is that you kind of got to treat it like a final exam, right? Because it's cumulative. It's not like, it's only what you learned from the past month or 2 months. It's what you learned from August or September of the previous year, all the way to what you learned just a couple of weeks back. So it's important that you have the ability to retain a lot of information, because it's content. You're learning. I mean, you have to be able to know content spanning the course of 7 to 8 months, which can be overwhelming. And that's why keeping track of your notes throughout the entire year, maybe making a study guide with your friends, couple days or even a couple weeks before the exam. That's what I did for AP US History. I had a couple of friends taking the course with me. So what we did a week before the exam, of course you should start it earlier, but we were in a bit of a rush. But a week before the exam, we made like a 80 to 100-page study guide for the exam and studied it thoroughly before the exam. And then that way the exam seemed quite a bit easier. There are prior study guides available online, but what I generally feel is if you make the study guide yourself, it definitely makes a different impact, because when you're making the study guide, you'll retain the information a lot better than just reading what someone else wrote. So that's definitely one of the tips I have. I'm just trying to retrace, what I did this past year, because this past year I had to take 6 exams, and each one was 3 hours. So it can definitely get kind of frustrating sometimes, because if you're taking multiple exams, 5 to 6 hours, 5 to 6 exams, each one spans around 3 hours, 15 to 18 hours of testing, can definitely get kind of pretty annoying. But I think it's a matter of being able, to build that mental stamina. And if you're able to build that mental stamina and get through it, I think that's very, very useful. And I think teachers are definitely open up something called AP Classroom. When you enroll in an AP course, now they introduce this feature called AP Classroom, and teachers will assign things through AP Classroom. For example, practice MCQs, practice FRQs, and you can do those. Those are released by College Board too. So those will definitely be useful resources in you becoming a better AP exam taker. And I wanted to talk quickly about the time constraint on exams. Generally, the time that they give should be sufficient to complete the sections on the exam. Sometimes you might feel like, I think on the AP English language exam, you only get 40 minutes for each essay. And initially, when I started trying to write an essay in 40 minutes, it was pretty difficult, because I was accustomed to writing essays in 60 minutes. But by writing several practice essays throughout the class, by the time of the exam, you have 7-8 months to prepare. By the time of the exam, I was able to write essays in under 40 minutes. It's a matter of reading the prompt, the essay quick, and getting to the keyboard or paper. I had my exam online, so I typed it. But soon, I'm sure, with the COVID situation dying down, hopefully, they'll be back to pencil and paper, and matter of writing or typing as fast as you can, and with ideas constantly flowing. So with practice, I think the time constraint shouldn't be much of an issue. And then, let's see, tips to prepare for the exam. Yeah, I think if I have any other tips, I will definitely be sure to provide them. But other than that, this is what sticks out to me, and I think we can move on. Oh, we can move on to the closing slide.
We move on. There are a few deadlines that I would like to say. As for FUSD, deadlines vary from school to school, so please make sure to check in with your counselor. But for all FUSD schools, the window for registration started from Friday, October 1st at 3:30 p.m. to Friday, October 22nd at 5 p.m. So that's the final deadline for the students to register and pay for the exam. So please, if you're in FUSD, please make sure to submit your AP exams if you're taking any by that time. And I think for outside of FUSD, it would be best if you talk to your counselor, or usually the school would have their AP exam registration link and due dates all on their website, so you can check that out as well. So as for the closing, all AP tests are given during May and no other times, and the deadline to register for any AP exam is by November 15th. So again, ask your school for details on payment, and possible to register deadline after deadline will have to pay late fees. So again, the maximum date would be November 15th. So if you do register afterwards, you'll have to pay late fees, and after a certain time, you cannot cancel a registration, and you'll have to pay fees to like cancel and all that. And each test costs $96 per exam, but for FUSD, it's $115 for all AP exams. This is without late fees, and that's considering the school scholarship. Otherwise, it'd be $115. And now I think we can move on to our Q&A.
Oh yeah, one second. I just want to add a bit to the closing. So the price may seem kind of high, $115 per exam. So, if you're taking 4 or 5 exams, that might amount to like $500, $600. But I definitely do think it's worth it because, for example, my brother, who's going to UC Berkeley right now, he took the AP Literature exam in his senior year, AP English Literature exam. And since he got a 5 on the literature exam, he was able to skip a couple. He's not very interested in, he's majoring in CS, and he's not very interested in literature or humanities courses. So since he got a 5 on AP Literature, he was able to skip a couple of, or at least 1 or 2 of his English courses that he was supposed that other students had to take at Berkeley in freshman year. So I think although the price may seem big, I think it's definitely worth to take the exams if you're taking the course. Although it is optional, it is highly, highly recommended to take the exams as well. So I would, be sure to do that, unless you have a reason not to. And if you don't do well, there's no reason to worry too much about it. I think Aryan mentioned earlier in the presentation that it's definitely not a make or break factor. That the AP exams are not a make or break factor. If you get an A in the AP course, that's great in itself. And if a 3 is still a good score, you shouldn't stress too much about a 3, 4, 5. Try to pass the exam, of course. Avoid a 1 or a 2, and then a 4 or 5 is a moral booster. A lot of colleges don't take a look at your AP exam scores until after you've gotten admitted. They don't use some don't use it for admissions purposes. Once you get in, they ask you to send official AP test scores, and then they'll be like, okay, since you've gotten a 5 or a 4 on these, you can skip these certain courses at our school, something like that. So don't stress too much about them is the main point, but definitely still try your best on them. And I think with that,
I think we can start the Q&A. Here's the link to the document. Here it's in the chat, and we can start off by the Q&A.
If you'd like, I can go through the questions, or is that fine? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you suggest materials for AP CSP? So I think, as we mentioned earlier, there is 70% of your score comes from the multiple choice for AP CSP, and 30% comes from the create performance task. So for the create performance task, there's no really materials to study. It's more of code that you do at home with a partner. And I think this was a different question, whether they give you time to code or whether you do it at a separate time. You do it at home, or schools, your teacher may give you some time to do it during school. So it's done before the exam, not during the exam. Hopefully this answers that question. And then, so for the create performance task, there's no real material to study out for. It's more of, you got to think of an idea of a program or some sort of game, something like that, something with a purpose to code. You code that and then you submit that. So not really much material for that. However, for the multiple choice part, as I mentioned, you can get the Barron's book for AP Computer Science Principles. Get the Barron's book, look through the chapters there. You can end up practicing those questions, practicing the questions, taking past practice exams. And I think for most of the preparation questions, that's what my answers will be. Get the Barron's book. Do past practice exams that you can find in the Barron's book, or you can find online. And yeah. All right. Is there a minimum number of APs expected for UCs or Ivy Leagues? There's never a minimum expectation of APs for UCs or Ivy Leagues. They don't say, oh, we want you to take 7 AP courses or 8 AP courses, because every student is in a different situation, and colleges are understanding of that. For example, at my school, at American High School, there's no limit on the number of AP courses that you can take. You can take as many AP courses as you want. In freshman year, you can't take any, but sophomore year, there's a limit. But in junior and senior year, there's no limit on the number of AP courses you take. So they'll review it in the context of your situation. But definitely, if you take as many AP courses as you feel you can handle, you shouldn't try to, in junior year, if there's no limit, you shouldn't try to take 6 AP courses if you don't think you can handle 6, and then you end up getting a B in a couple of them. You should try to take as many as you can take, as many AP courses you can take, while getting an A in them, if that makes sense. But at the same time, to answer your question more specifically, colleges do release statistics each year of how many honors or AP courses their students take. And I'm just trying to open that up and to give you a better idea. And just one moment, please. It may take me a minute to get to the website.
While Rahul pulls that up, we can move on to the next question, and then we can go back to this.
Sorry.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. So, for example, at UCLA, the middle 50% of students, so this is to the middle 50% of students, the middle 50% of students take 19 to 30. Actually, let me put this. 7.
Do you want to share your screen?
I can't share this, unfortunately, but the middle 50% of students at UCLA that got admitted this past year, 2020, for the class of 2021, take around 9 to 15 honors and AP courses. So not just AP courses, honors and AP courses combined. They don't release just AP, but so just to repeat that, this is the middle 50% of students, not the top 10% or the bottom 10%. This is the middle 50%, take around 10 to 15 honors and AP courses combined. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question, and other colleges will release it. This is just an example of UCLA. All right. Self-studied AP courses are not as appreciated as taking other courses. Is that true? So you should, I think self-studying AP courses is fine, but I self-studied AP Computer Science A in freshman year. And although I self-studied in freshman year, I'm still taking the course this year at school. And the reason is, if you self-study an AP course, that's not going to appear on your school transcript. And colleges do like it do want that academic rigor in your school transcript. And that's why I chose to take AP CSA this year, although I had already taken the exam freshman year by self-studying. But a way around this is taking the course at a different school. For example, you can, locally there's like a couple places, I'm sure everywhere there, where you can take the AP. Well, there's two ways of self-studying. One is, just buying a prep book and studying on your own, reading through the book, taking exams on your own. The second way of self-studying, which some people may not see as self-studying, is enrolling in a academy outside of school. For example, an example of that place is UC Scout. And at UC Scout, you can take AP courses. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. So the second way is enrolling in a different school, a different academy outside of school. An example is UC Scout. And you can take an AP course at UC Scout. It goes just like school, but it's a self-paced course outside of school. And those, you can get an official transcript from that academy and then send that to college and have that potentially weigh into your GPA. So I think you definitely want it to appear on some sort of a transcript, if that makes sense. Hopefully that answers your question. And then the fourth question, I think I answered this. It's developed before the exam, not during. So yeah. And then you do not necessarily need a partner for the project. Having a partner is optional. It can also be done alone. And I think this is the most recent question that came in. All right. AP exams should be given in the same year when you take the AP course. Yes. So generally, if you're taking the AP course, let's say you take AP European History in sophomore year, you probably also want to take AP, the test at the end of sophomore year, because if you take the course in sophomore year, but you take the test in junior year, it's going to be hard to keep that information in your head for a year and a half. So you want to take it as soon as possible. And the only way your seat is guaranteed for the exam at your school is if you take it in the same year as the exam, or as the same year. If you take the exam as the same year as the course, that's the only way your seat is guaranteed for the exam. So, for example, just to clarify what I'm saying is, if you're taking the AP European History course at your school in sophomore year, they have to let you take the exam at school in sophomore year. But if you take the course in sophomore year and you want to take the exam in junior year, there's no guarantee. Sorry, what? If you take the course in sophomore year, but you want to take the exam in junior year, there's no guarantee that the school lets you take the exam at that time. So definitely try to take the exam as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I think you're given priority. If you're a student that is already enrolled in the class, you're given priority over others that are not in that
I
class.
practice on this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think number 6 is pretty similar to number 5, right? So
Yeah.
Do you encourage taking self-study AP? Do you encourage self-studying AP exams, considering the limited options available with FUSD? I'm actually interested in this question because I see FUSD as one of the more open districts in terms of AP courses because they have a ton of options available. But if you could unmute yourself and clarify this question, I think that would help. And we would.
Hey, thanks, guys. This is Aparna here. This is my
Hi.
question. Thank you so much for doing these sessions are very informative. So my question, the reason I put this is my son goes to Mission San Jose, and I hear that it's really difficult to get into the AP courses you ask for in Mission San Jose. That's the reason I was asking.
Okay, I see. So if
Is
it's
that I don't know if it's applicable, equally applicable to all the schools in FUSD, or is it a problem specific to Mission San Jose? I'm not sure.
at American high school, at least generally students get the
Mhm.
course that they want to. That's not usually an issue. Sometimes, there are these cases where students don't get. I have a friend this year who applied for 4 AP courses but only got 2, but those are like rare exceptions. Generally, students get the courses that they want to. I think I have heard this too. I didn't take that into account at Mission. At Mission, do you know if there's a limit on the number of AP courses you can take in junior year? Like, I heard there was a cap of like 3. Do you know or no?
I don't know, but I only know that they cannot take anything in either freshman or sophomore year. They can't take anything, so they can start taking only in junior year. That's what I know.
Okay, I see. In that case, to show that you're still interested in taking academically rigorous courses, it may be a good idea to self-study AP courses, and I would definitely suggest not just buying a book and studying it because that won't appear on any transcript, right? Maybe try taking it in an academy like UC Scout or something so that you can end up getting a transcript that you can send when you apply to college. But
So
yeah,
without the transcript, will it be considered? Will it not be considered once they join the colleges? Will it not be considered for credit? Actually, this is one of my follow-up questions, but since we're talking, I'm just asking.
yeah, sure. So it will be considered. So if you do well on the exam, it will be considered for college credit, even if you do not have the transcript. But the reason I'm stressing that you should try to get a transcript for the course, for a self-studied course, is because if you have the transcript, it can help. It can improve your UC GPA. So when you're applying to UCs, if you take it at a different academy and you get a transcript, it will boost your UC. It can boost your UC GPA.
So UCPA is the GPA that UCs calculate on their own, right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
okay for admission purposes alone?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you so much. This is helpful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Raf.
No problem. All right. Can a freshman directly book an exam from the College Board, or do they require it? Are they required to get permission from the school? I would check with your school on that. It does vary school to school, but generally the most convenient place to take your AP exam would be the school itself, and so that's why I would check with your school administrator or one of your teachers whether or not you can book it directly off the College Board or you should get permission from the school. But I would say so getting permission from the school would be the safer and more convenient option than going through College Board, because that can be a more painful process. Will taking AP exams help you save money in college? Like Aryan said, it could help you graduate, or I forgot who said this, I think it was Aryan, but it could help you graduate faster. And in that case, I guess you can save money, but it's not going to be you're going to save $3,000 or $4,000 because a ton of money because you took a bunch of AP courses and exams. So I don't think.
Add on. Oh, you were
Yeah.
saying? Okay, so just to add on to what Rahul said, if you take the AP courses and you get to skip the course, you get to skip beginner courses in college. So So yeah, you basically get to like, escape paying the tuition for those classes because you generally don't need to take them. So you save that much money, however much it is. So yes, you do save money.
But hopefully that doesn't end up being the main incentive for, taking the AP courses. All right. I think number 10 we answered, and then number 11 we answered, and then if you're interested in majoring in computer science, is doing AP Chem or AP Physics worth it? Definitely. I think I took both of those courses in my junior year, and then I took AP Physics 1 my junior year, and I'm doing AP Physics C right now. And I think if you're doing computer science, as we know, is a growing field. Every year there are more and more applicants for computer science. It's one of the more competitive fields today, as in this year, and the competition is only going to keep increasing in the future. So I would definitely suggest taking as many academic rigorous courses as you can handle. And AP Chemistry and AP Physics are considered two of the more academically rigorous courses. According to a lot of current college students, AP Physics C is the hardest AP course ever. But although I like with that saying those things, I don't want to scare you, of course. But I think taking those courses will definitely be helpful in being a better computer science student and applicant. How difficult are AP exams? That's a difficult question to answer, but
it depends.
It depends on the exam, and I think it depends on the exam and it depends on the student as well. For example, I'm a student more interested in computer science than I am in history. So when I took the AP Computer Science Principles exam, I found it a lot easier and a lot more fun to take the exam compared to when I had to study and take the AP US History exam, because I found that not necessarily difficult. Well, I did find it somewhat difficult because there's a lot of information to retain throughout the year. You have to remember a war that you learned in August, and then you have to also remember a battle that you learned in January, and you have to remember a treaty that was signed in February. So it can get kind of confusing in that sense. But some students are super interested in history, and it kind of becomes the inverse for them. So this is a really specific question that is more difficult to answer. It depends on the exam, depends on the student, etc. At Mission San Jose, we are told that anything outside will not be part of the transcript. So will something like a UC Scout transcript be considered by UCs for GPA calculation, even though it is not part of the school transcript? Yes. So your UC Scout transcript, for example, will not be integrated with your school transcript, but you could, I think there is an option to send it separately. That's what some of my friends who took AP courses outside are doing this year. They took it outside and they'll be sending it separately. And it won't help for like private colleges like MIT or UIUC, but for UCs, it will improve your GPA. So it won't be with your school transcript, it's a separate transcript. So 2 transcripts being sent, if that makes sense. Generally, the kids here, at least at the middle school, are not used to write any essay answers without looking at book in the exams. So is that the same case in high school? Could you please clarify that question? I'm a bit confused by the question. And I can answer the second half. Are the exams, so while you rephrase that, I'll answer the second half. Are the exams mostly MCQ? As we showed in our slides, generally your score is composed of 2 parts. The multiple choice makes up 50% of it, and the free response makes up another 50%. So, yeah, in that sense, there's not necessarily more MCQ. It's half MCQ, half FRQ. They're generally around 50 to 60 multiple choice questions, and then for like AP English Language and Literature, there's 3 essays to write. For AP US History, there's 2 essays to write along with 3 paragraphs. So there's around the length of 3 essays to write for FRQ. Now, if you take a look at Computer Science A, they're not going to make you write essays because that, of course, doesn't make sense. They're going to have you write blocks of code, like 5 different blocks of code. And yeah, so it's 50% MCQ, 50% FRQ generally. And if you could rephrase the first part of that question, because I'm struggling to understand that a bit, I would appreciate that.
Hi. What I wanted to check out is generally up to middle school, kids don't write any essay answers in the exam. I mean, such kind of questions are not given. it's always only multiple choice questions, right? Even up to 8th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, kids over here, what I see up to middle school, don't have the habit of memorizing it, as such, to answer a big essay question. Okay, multiple choice questions, you can just do an elimination kind of thing and try to come to the right answer. But when it comes to essay questions, you need to memorize something and then reproduce it at the time of exam. So that's what I was asking, whether the same thing is followed even in high school. I'm not talking about AP exam or AP courses, but in general, if you take any exam in high school, how is it conducted?
I think the idea of memorizing for an essay is definitely not the way to go, because essays are in high school, at least, are more application based. Because when you get to high school, on the third day of English 9 honors, my English teacher gave me a timed write, and a timed write is basically, you get 40 to 60 minutes to write an essay, and you haven't read, like, they give you a passage per se. You have to read the passage on spot and then start writing immediately, and analyze whatever passage you get and start writing immediately. So I don't for especially AP tests, memorizing is not gonna get you far. It's more application based, where you use the knowledge that you've learned throughout the year and you apply it on the exam to the new questions that you get. So essay wise, definitely whenever you write an essay, you won't need to have anything memorized usually, but you apply what you learned. Even on the AP US history exam, there's 2 essays. One is a document based question, and for the document based question, you get 7 new documents that you probably haven't read before. You read those 7 documents, and then based on the skills you learned throughout the year, you write an essay based on those 7 documents. Now, at the same time, there is a long essay question where you have to use evidence that you know already. There won't be documents that you can refer to, but the evidence that you need, it'll be your teacher or however you learn, it'll be engraved in your brain by the time of the exam. So I wouldn't worry too much about having to memorize something and then regurgitate that on the exam. It's a matter of being able to take that content you've learned throughout the year and applying it to your essay or exam. Does that answer your question?
To some extent, but then what I'm trying to say is, you say that it's an application based questions that are given as a part of your essay questions, but then whatever you're going to learn throughout that year or in your school, um, I mean, you need to read, right? You need to read, you need to understand, you need to, uh, you know, keep in some concepts in your brain. It doesn't happen like that, you just go through the book and then, there is some place where the concept of memorizing also comes into picture. Only if you read, you understand, you build the concept in your mind, and you remember that concept in your mind, only then you will be able to reproduce. No, what I'm trying to ask you is, that's the reason, the kids find it really challenging to face high school subjects here. I mean, because till middle school, you don't have those kind of approach, right? You don't have that kind of approach.
Yeah, I think Preet wants to go ahead. I'll let him take it. Oh, one second, Preet, we can't hear you. You're muted, I think.
Yeah, so for this, I can elaborate on this. So when your student gets into high school, usually for all your honors classes or your English, or if you have an AP exam like AP European History, your teachers will give you the particular like way of going through that essay. So for English, it'll be a lot different than when you're writing a European history essay. So you'll have a different way of like an outline that they'll give before the school year, and then every week you have to write multiple essays, and that way they'll give you like a good like understanding of what the context is, what your outline is, and they'll grade you based off how you follow the outline. And by the time you do the AP exam, that outline is memorized in your brain. It's engraved in your brain, so that when you take the AP exam itself, you just follow that outline, and this outline is given like to College Board, to like the teachers that they prepare every now and then, and the teachers use that outline to give to students, and they prepare that way. So maybe instead of memorizing like the actual like essay itself, you can memorize the outline and like the key points that you might need to have. And if it's like an English essay, you have to read like a passage or something and take like key points from that into your outline. That's pretty much how they would go about essays, and that's pretty much how you prepare.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know this, because I think this approach mostly will start from your high school, not in your
Yes.
elementary or middle school, right?
Yeah. So I can say from my prior experience, ninth grade, we wrote quite a bit of essays. I had ninth grade English on honors, and we wrote decent amount of essays. And this year, when I'm taking AP Open History, we have at least 2 essays every week. So we do a bunch of essays and bunch of MCQ preparation questions and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
generally, the teachers are really good. They go through the whole AP exam, and they give you each sections and they test on that. So it's really nice when they teach you.
Okay, okay, that's what I wanted to check. And one more thing, it's not related to AP exam question. It's something, related to school. So what I want to check out is in eighth grade, when they're giving you the semester marks, semester one and semester two. In that time, only the quarter two marks are considered as the final semester marks, and not the quarter one. I mean, quarter one and quarter two don't become a part of semester one marks.
So
Um,
I think. Oh, you want to go ahead?
No, I think it would just be quarter two. Whatever your final grade is in your quarter two will be your final grade for semester one. For your semester one, and the same thing would go for your semester two.
Yeah.
Oh,
So each
okay.
semester is divided into 2 quarters, right? So quarter one, quarter two, and quarter one grades really don't matter. Only your colleges will never be able to see your quarter one grades. Only your quarter two and quarter four grades will be visible to colleges, and those are your final semester grades, like Preet said.
Oh, the same thing continues even in high school.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, because see, I was in the impression that your semester one will have quarter one and quarter two, and semester two will have your Q3 and Q4 scores. But this is when my daughter told Preet has confirmed on this to her, so she asked me not to bother about the quarter one scores. So
Yeah,
is it right, Preet?
No, so quarter one really doesn't matter much. It's just like a progress check, and then your semester one grade only starts counting like when you go into your quarter two. Towards the end of quarter two, that's what will be your final grade that will go into your semester one.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to confirm. When she told me, I thought, let me ask and take a confirmation on this. Thanks, Preet
Yeah,
and Rahul. Thank you so much.
and then
for sure.
there's a question in the chat. It's a good question. As you're mentioning honors and AP courses for UTLA around 9 to 15, is that all 4 years or just from 10th grade? So the 9 to 15 number is referring from 9th grade all the way to 12th grade. However, when UC calculates their GPA, they only take 10th and 11th into consideration. But the statistics that they're releasing about the 9 to 15 courses, honors courses, that's in reference to courses that students are taking from their freshman year all the way to their senior year. But once again, their GPA calculation only takes into account their courses or transcript scores from 10th and 11th grade. And hopefully that answers your question.
How tough is AP Bio to take as a course? As like maybe the very first AP course that they are taking, how challenging will that be?
Aryan, are you taking AP Bio? Sorry, I didn't take it.
Yeah, I'm taking AP Bio this year. So AP Bio isn't my first AP course because I'm taking it in junior year, and I already took AP European history last year and taking some more APs this year. But AP Bio, it isn't too hard for me. Now it's hard for some of my other classmates because AP Bio is more conceptual based than memorization based. So say if a student like primarily relies on memorization, then AP Bio might be a tiny bit harder for them because AP Bio is supposed to like remember concepts and then remember their applications and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard. Though I've heard that the teachers prepare you pretty well. Like there's one teacher, Mr. Baker, whose median class score for the AP exam is about a 4 or so. And it's not that hard for me as of now, but again, this is just the starting of the course, so I can't say for sure how easy it might be. But so far, it's kind of easy. Yeah.
Possible to come by Mr. Baker's office, and is he willing to, share more info and talk and all that? Is that something that the teacher's open to doing?
I'm not too sure about him. I'm in his class, so I can freely like attend his flex and stuff. But if if your student is in the FEST Gmail system, then you can probably like go into like the to field and then type in the name Joshua Baker or something, and then that will come up. So maybe you can like shoot him an email that way, and that can help too.
Yeah. I think what Aryan suggested is definitely a great idea. Usually teachers would be open for that, but I think that would be the best idea to just email them and confirm. Okay, yeah, so I just put the name in the chat. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to unmute yourself or put in the chat as well.
I just have one last question. For a straight A student who maintains the best possible GPA at school, right? Does it make sense to take outside courses and APs for UC GPA? Will it add any value?
I think so around if you're so when the college views your application, they're going to be viewing it in the context of your opportunity. So at your school, is there a limit on the number of APs a student can take in a certain year, or was this? I think I already had this mission. Are you the this is
Yeah,
right? Mission?
yeah, Mission, I think we do have some limits. I'm not sure the numbers, but I think we do have some limitations.
When the college views their application, your school counselor will end up sending to the college, there was a limit on the student's ability to take AP courses. So if your student can only take 3 AP courses, let's say junior year, and your student takes all 3 possible AP courses, then the college is going to be like, okay, so the student took 100% of the AP courses that they could have taken, and there's nothing to hold against them, right? If your student does feel like he or she can handle more, there's of course not, because it's going to end up boosting your UC GPA. I don't see a reason, why not to take a course outside. But if your student feels, 3 AP courses, this is already like, you need to it's a very good idea to make sure that you're getting an A in the courses that you're taking at school. So you don't want to end up risking getting a B in your course at school by taking a course outside of school. So it really depends on what the student is able to handle.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
But say 3 APs, around 4 and 1 AP, say outside AP at 5, will probably boost their UC GPA. But if you get say 4 in 3 APs at school and an outside AP also gets you just a 4, it will not add to your GPA, right? It will not boost your GPA. I'm just trying to understand how it works. Is my understanding correct?
Any number of AP courses that you take outside of school will boost your UC GPA. It doesn't matter, regardless of how many you're taking at school, taking some outside will boost your UC GPA. As long as it's done at a reputable academy, that you should make sure that if you take a course at that academy, it will boost your UC GPA with them before you end up paying and taking the course.
I think Rahul, she was asking if you get like 4 on all those in school ones and then 4 again outside of school.
4 on the exam?
Yeah.
Yeah. My question was, is the UC GPA, I mean, is it proportional to the number of courses you take, and or is it not?
Yeah, so your UC GPA does depend on the number of AP courses you take. Is that your question? Like,
I'm sorry, I'm unable to articulate it better. Say, if you do 4 AP courses and or if you take 5, say if you do 4 AP courses and get say 4 on all, and if you take 5 AP courses and get 4 on all, will it make a difference? That's what I'm trying to say.
When you say 4 on all, you mean a score of a 4 on the exam?
Yeah.
So your score on the exam is not going to change your GPA.
Okay.
Your grade in the course does matter.
Oh, okay. The exam score is not going to matter for UC's GPA. Is that correct?
The exam score does not affect your GPA.
Oh, okay. The course grades are going to matter for UC GPA.
Yeah. The course grades matter a whole lot more than the exam score. So that's why I stress that make sure you get the A. It's okay if you get a 1 on the exam and an A on. I would rather get a 1 on the exam and an A in the course than a 4 on the exam or 5 on the exam and a B in the course. in
Okay.
the
Yeah,
grade.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the
That's
grade
clear
is a lot more important than the score.
now. Okay, I didn't realize that the course grades are also matter along with the final score on the exam. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, adding on to what Rahul said. So I'm pretty sure a few years back at AHS or something, there was this system in which, say, if you scored a 5 or a 4 on the AP exam, then the instructor would change your grade from to like a B or an A. But then that doesn't happen anymore. So at least at American high school, course grades have no bearing on your test scores, and test scores have no bearing on your course grades. So you might want to check with your school's counselor or something for that, because some schools still might do it. So checking it out is just better.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I think with that we can wrap up the session. I know it's 7:10. So thank you all so much for coming. If you do have any questions, feel free to stay back and ask your questions. Otherwise, I think this is it for the session. Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you
will
so
put the presentation in the group chat as well as the recording to the session as well.